So I've been using the Claudine Helmuth matte medium, and I've used that as a glue to put my papers down, and then gone over the top with that and used that as a glaze as well. Now I've decided that I want to take that teal colour back a bit because it's too bright. So I'm using the Tim Holtz Distress Stain, the Picket Fence, and that's great. If you haven't got that, you could use some watered down acrylic and just paint over the top of that, and that's taking that off a little bit for me, giving it a much more muted effect, which is better. There is turquoise in this paper too. Let me just, sorry, I put my hand in front of the camera all the time. There is turquoise in there, so I'll get some of the pieces that have got the turquoise in and take that through as well. So I'm just going to apply some of that matte medium. I'm going to apply a bit on the canvas. I'm going to take some of the papers down the sides as well. Then apply a little bit on the back of the paper, just to soak into the paper fibres a bit. And then over the top, which is a seal, which will seal it. I can cut that bit off. I need a bit more on there. So, as I say, don't forget your sides. I've just copied some score off a sheet of music, just copied it onto ordinary paper, and I've done it with the inkjet, and it doesn't seem to be running too much. You know, it does sometimes run a bit, the inks, when you wet them, but it's not bad. I'll put it there because I don't want to cover that stamp or too much of this brown texture on the back of the canvas. So go on and add as much paper as you want to. The way I did was stamp them with the Memento Rich Cocoa and cut them out, and then I'm backing them with the aluminium, metal tape, not aluminium tape, but I'm not sure whether it's aluminium or not, but metal tape. So I cut that out and back that, and that makes it be able to be pliable and to sort of stay in that place. There you are. To colour them in, I used the Memento Rich Cocoa, doing the same as I normally do, put them on the max. I don't want it too dark or too darker pieces in it. It will just build up some colour on there. And then what I wanted to do after that, I want to give it some Picket Fence, because I've been using that throughout the project, so I don't want it to be quite as dark as that. I'm going to just go across it with that. The next thing to do, we'll dry that off a minute quickly. That just softens that, the Picket Fence. And then what I'm doing then is I'm going to put some Versamark on and edge it with silver. Just get some paper and my pads, and then just around the edges I'm going to do that. And then I don't want a great deal. If you get too much on, just get a paintbrush, a soft paintbrush, and just rub that off. Literally just, I don't want too much. I ended up with nothing on the end there at all. Get rid of that excess on there, put that back in the pot, and when I heat set that, I'm going to pop a little bit of gesso on the edges. I want that. I'm just trying to keep a theme going throughout, so I've used lots of gesso with this and popped it on the roses, and I've done the gesso with the butterflies, so I really need to keep that theme going through. That will make that metal tape hot, so be careful. And then when that's dry, get the trusty gesso, and I only want a little bit, and I'm just going to, some little bits, that's all. Don't want that much, literally on the edges. I'm not going right way round, I just want some little pieces. To do the leaves, they're this colour brown to start off with, and I got these from Ribbon Girl. Let me see, I want to do it in a green colour, so I'm going to take this Olive Grove Memento over the top, give them a spray of water from the mister, and then I can just dry them off a bit. When you've dried them, that won't give it very much of a green colour. So now when you've done that, you can go over it with some picket fence. It's just come off the wire. That's not helpful, is it? I'll do top and bottom. Okay. And they're all going to come off, aren't they, because they're not dry. Anyhow, do that, give it another dry. If you want it that colour, that's okay. If you want it a bit greener, we can go over it again. I'm just building up some layers there. And then I'll go over it again with the picket fence, just giving it a more of a sort of shabby look. So for the butterfly, I used the Stampin' Up die. It has this big one and the smaller one here, and then it has these two which you could put on the fold of the paper, and a bigger one again, and a straight edge one there. And I covered them with gesso and just textured it up with my fingers a little bit, so if you can probably see the texture there. So on the big one, I'll give you a look at it again there. That's the finished butterfly there. What I did first was stamped it with the big one, that was, with the grunge flourish. Pop that on. Using the teal stays on there, you can I've actually used Memento. I've picked up the brown Memento, so anyway, I did this teal. I did teal on it, but I'll use this one now. I picked up the wrong one. Oh, I've actually put the wrong lid on my inks. And that's what I've done. So there's that. What we'll do then, I'm hoping it's going to work. It might not work with this Memento. Let's try. It might run. Let's heat set it first. I'm going to, if you use the teal stays on or an archival waterproof ink, you won't have any issues with it running at all anyway. So I'm going to just spray it. I've got this little box which I spray in, and what I'm going to do is just spray that with Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. This one's Coffee, or Coffee Shop it's called. Well, it's just coffee, but it's not, it's Coffee Shop. Just a small spraying, I don't want very much. So give that a generous spray, and then what will happen is that it will start to run. Actually, I'll probably want a bit more than that. And what I do when I'm spraying is I put some pages an old book in the bottom and just spray on the top of them, and then that makes a nice backing for something when I'm doing something else. I'm not wasting the ink. I've got a big pool, if you can see, of ink in there. As I'm drying this now, I'm going to let it run, and that will make like watermarks. See what I'm doing, just move it around. You can make it move into those spaces, all the better, and pull into those wings. And what's happened is the Memento ink has run, so we have to stamp it again. So that's one thing we know now. We can't do it even if we heat set it, won't work. So I would have rather stamp it first and then glimmer misted it, but so I'm presuming my teal is in my brown Memento case, which it is. Ha, surprise, surprise. So organised as usual. If you know me, then you know that I'm not at all organised, ever. I might give it another spray of that pearl, because I don't want it ever so dark. And then I'll heat set that. The other one, all I did was I used the Memento ink, and I used the green one, the Olive Grove. That's that one for now. Again, it's gessoed, the same. And what I did was just swiped over it, just dry, and then I sprayed it with a pearl. I'm going to move some of my papers around. I sprayed it with the pearl, which will make that Memento ink run the same way as when we put the coffee in. And again, if you let it run, as it dries it will make watermarks. If you don't have the watermarks and you want them, just pop some more ink on and just spray it again. That's lovely. You get some nice effects doing this. And the gesso gives it that texture, and it pulls in between the textured pieces. So that's that. And then what I did afterwards was got some tinsel. See, I'm terribly unorganised. I'm such a untidy worker. This is Heat It Up embossing tinsel snowflake. This is a really nice one, this one. And what I'm going to do is just, let's leave that. I'm going to take my Versamark over the edges. I don't want it very far in, just some of the edges. And the big one. You could dry your two butterflies first to make sure that there's nothing in there. There's my paintbrush. Just get rid of some of that in the middle if you don't want it, and it's stuck a little bit, but you have to make sure they're dry before you put the embossing powder on. And let's do that one as well. I actually mind a little bit more on this one. As you can see, I'm not being at all precise about any of it. Pop that in the pot. And let's just heat set those two. And then we'll just embellish the middle. So that's your 2 butterflies complete. Now you just stick them in together, that one in the middle, and then put your embellishments, whatever you're going to use, in the centre. So to finish the butterfly, I've got 3 little rosebuds. I think I bought these in Hobbycraft, and they're from the wedding section, those. And I'm going to just pop a tiny bit of gesso on, just pop it on the mat because I don't want a lot. I've done the 2 of them already, so just a tiny bit of gesso. If you haven't got gesso, you could use some watered down acrylic. Okay, I'll just wipe that off there, and then I'm going to glue those into the centre. We'll just pop those 3 in there. I might want, oh, see what I mean? It runs out everywhere. Even if I pull the glue stick out, it still runs everywhere. So there. So we'll pop those in there. I'm going to use this E6000. It's really strong glue, waterproof, flexible, and you can paint on it, and it's good for metal and bits and pieces. So I'm just going to put that glue on there and then pop that in there. I'm hoping it's going to stay on. It's got rather a big metal piece on it. I'm hoping. It smells really funny, this glue. I can't say I like the smell of it, but because it's flexible, I think it's good because it doesn't go brittle. So I'm going to just leave that. So this is the finished canvas, and we'll just run through section by section. That's the butterfly we did. This is the words that we did with the metal tape, so of course they stand up nicely there. The frame we made with the metal tape, I've just cut out another frame and just offset that underneath. The beautiful stamps from Visible Image, and the Grunge Flourish which we put on the canvas, which was Visible Image as well. This is one of their new sets of stamps, which is really lovely. And there's some ribbon there which I've put through this little piece here, which I showed you how to do. The leaves again, which were up there and down in the corner, which we did. That tag is Spellbinders, that one. It's antique frame and accents. It's got the antique frames and edging, and there's the tag. And I just did the same on that as I did on the words. There's some little metal leaves there, but I think I had those in my stash anyway. I think I got those from eBay. A bit more ribbon across there, and I've actually stamped on, actually that's seam binding, and I've stamped on that with the border that comes with this stamp set. And that's the corner, the flourish that I showed you how to do, the same as the technique for the frame. And the little crown was from Sainsbury's, which was a brooch that I took the back off. And I hope you like the canvas, and I hope you have a go at some of the techniques in there. Even if you don't do the same sort of things, you can apply it to other things. So I'll see you soon for another tutorial. Bye!